Hello, friends and family. Welcome back to the ADIOS SENOR podcast. I'm your host, Alex Dempsey, and I'm joined with my co-pilot,
Jake Wild, and today we have a great guest alongside us. Do you want to introduce yourself?
I'm Leah Weinfeld. I'm a senior in Byram Hills. I'm just really excited to be here today. Thanks for having me, guys.
Of course.
Very excited to have you.
For sure.
So we always start out with the same question on here. We kind of just ask how your quarantine is going and how you've been handling the situation in the world right now.
Yeah, my quarantine, is probably not much different than anyone else's.
Right.
I'm sure.
I go to sleep late, wake up late, same old thing.
Yeah.
Just hanging out a lot with my family, try to get outside as much as I can. Same old.
Have you been able to develop any type of routine in your days, or do you kind of just go with the flow?
Yeah, I've tried a routine. I mean, if going to bed at 2 a.m. every day,
right.
Is a routine, then that's what I'd consider. But I'm starting to get into the flow a little more. I wake up, go downstairs, get some breakfast, sit outside for a bit, just do the same thing, It's an endless cycle.
Was it hard to transition into quarantine, do you think? Was it a hard transition?
Totally. For me, I am so here and there. I'm always doing something. Whether it was schoolwork or just hanging out with my friends, I always had something to do. I was never just sitting at home, doing nothing. So now I have a lot of free time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's teaching our generation a lot about being still.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah.
We're so used to just constant human connection and always running around, seeing people, and just I guess it's we got to slow down a little bit for the time being, and it's tough. But
I mean, I remember all these adults, they're always you guys have the attention span of a mouse or whatever. Right. And I feel this has been kind of a good way of counteracting it because you're not really focused on so many things at once. It's usually either one thing or nothing. So has that have you seen that happen? Your attention span getting better, you think?
Yeah. I definitely try to stop just resorting to going on my phone when I'm bored. Yeah. Boredom, it's the worst thing ever. So you just go on your phone, your computer. Right. So I've actually started reading, which I used to think was the worst thing in the world. Yeah. But now I could just sit for an hour and read my book. So that's definitely helped my attention span and putting my attention towards more useful things than
awesome.
Instagram,
What have you been reading?
Yeah, I was going to ask that.
I read a book called The Secrets We Keep. Okay. It was great. I actually started reading it for outside reading and never finished. So I just picked it back up right where I left off. Awesome. It was a quick read. Very interesting. Passed the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
I feel I always tell myself I'm going to get back into reading, and I never end up doing, because reading is something that I feel you really need to have a good attention span for. You need to pay attention, and I feel books are kind of almost the opposite of the short attention span thing, because books are long. You need to really dedicate your time to it. And it's so hard for me to really just sit still and read a book, because I'm always someone that needs to be out and about and doing something.
Yeah. It's an interesting book. I mean, it'll definitely keep you for a little, but if it's a boring book, I understand exactly what you're saying.
Right. Yeah, and that's the benefit with having all this time, is you can read whatever you want. If you don't like it, pick something else up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I was just thinking about, Leah? I was thinking about, Dempsey's in Hug too, but I was just thinking about our Hug class. I've been thinking about our whole conversation about coronavirus, right? I remember when she first introduced it to us. That was the first time I honestly really heard about it in a more serious forum.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I remember, I don't know if you remember this, but I was telling Dempsey this the other day. I was sick. I left early. Do you remember this?
No, because I was out that day too. So I missed the whole coronavirus conversation.
Yeah, okay.
Coming back the next day, and it was the only thing I heard about. Everyone was talking about it.
Yeah, and she had a very deep was like a big conversation.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that I'm definitely happy that we had that class this year.
Like, it was a good class.
That was a great class. I enjoyed it a lot.
I'm happy that we got to learn about that, and I'm grateful that like I felt like Ms. Luke was able to like clarify a lot of things for us.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think she like, in terms of like politics or whatever, she tried to stay as like neutral as she could, and like I felt like that was good because we were able to get good information from her. But I remember one day I left early because I was sick, and she shouted out after me. She's like, I hope you don't. This was like end of January. She's like, I hope you don't have coronavirus. Don't worry though, because like most people that have it are okay. Like completely freaked me out.
That's not a funny joke anymore. Like you can't.
That was
January. That's before it was like a serious thing. It was like over in China. It didn't really matter to like anyone outside of China. It's crazy.
And I remember. Don't you remember asking her like, "Oh, were you?" I feel like we had multiple days of discussions in our class.
We would bring up the cronovirus to get off topic. Like it was a very big topic of conversation in that class.
It was, it definitely was. But I remember she told us, what was she saying? I remember like a few kids would ask like, do you think it's going to come to the US?
Yeah.
This was in like early February. Dempsey, did you guys have these conversations too?
Yeah. And actually what I appreciate the most is that was really the only class where I got to like actually talk about coronavirus, which I think was really helpful. Like in the beginning phases where we all didn't really know that much, and like it's kind of funny looking back like how little we knew about it compared to now, but I just really appreciated it because that was like really the first instance I ever got like information about it, and talking about it I think was definitely really nice.
Yeah,
definitely was. So to kind of switch gears a little bit, talk about your experience, I guess, at Byram Hills. Were you 4 years on varsity for cheer?
Yeah, I was.
So do you want to talk about your experience with that a little bit?
Yeah, definitely. That was one of my highlights of my 4 years. Like most people that know me know that like I'm obsessed with cheer and my team. Like it was just such a good environment for me to be part of. Like it definitely kept me grounded. Like
awesome.
It was just like the best. I made the best friends ever, and it was just something to look forward to. It was a lot of fun.
Definitely.
Did you have any like hesitation when you first joined? Were you like nervous having to kind of try out for the team, right? You have to do that.
Yeah.
So like any fear there?
I mean, I think it just comes with any tryout. Like I think definitely through like theater, you guys could tell like tryout scary. Like it just comes with the word tryout, but everyone was so welcoming, and like they were so open to helping me and teaching me. They wanted me to succeed, so that kind of like calmed my nerves a little.
Right. I think that it also helps. I think this is huge with theater, and I think it's huge. We've talked about this with like almost a few people, like just about any team or like community type thing where you make so many friends that are older.
Yeah.
And I think it's a blessing and a curse because they leave as they age out, and it's hard, obviously. Yeah. But did you have any like really special relationships that meant a lot to you with people that were older?
Yeah, definitely. Most of my friends, honestly, were older than me. Like every year, it's just so hard to watch all the seniors leave. Like my freshman year, we had 4 amazing seniors. So like it was just because you're so young freshman year, so you get attached. Yes. And they left, and it was kind of just like, well, where are you going? Like, are you not coming back? Like you don't really know how to like go on without them, kind of. And like it gets a little easier each year, but my best friend in the whole world, Emily, left me last year, my partner in crime. So that was definitely a big transition, but it just brings you closer to like the people that are around you.
Right. Do you, this is something that I think about a lot actually, in terms of keeping in touch with older friends. Do you find that it's been a learning experience, learning how to keep in touch with them the best way? Like I found that when I was a freshman and a sophomore, when a lot of kids would age out, like I found that I probably wasn't doing the best at like maintaining my friendship with them after they left. And like I felt like maybe it was both sides, but do you feel like you've learned the best ways to like communicate and stay in touch with people?
Yeah, it was really hard at first because like them going to college is such a big transition, and like you almost feel like they don't have time for you, but like deep down they always will. Like they will always find time. So you just kind of begin to work on like a schedule. Like you'll shoot them a text like, hey, do you have class now? Want to talk? And like if it's no, then we'll FaceTime, like we'll text and just catch up. But there were definitely some nights when like we both had so much work and we were really busy, and we were just like, hey, like let's catch up sometime next week. So like you kind of schedule like catch ups kind of.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It keeps you it keeps you dedicated to those people that matter. Like you have to, you're almost putting more work into the friendship after they leave.
Yeah, I definitely can agree with that.
Yeah.
Definitely. Did you who was the cheer coach?
Coach Pico.
Was that was the coach like a good, I guess, inspiration like to you guys, or was it like did you guys have like a very good relationship with the coach?
Yeah, she was awesome. My freshman year we had another coach, and she was supposed to come back for my second year, and then Coach Pico came as an assistant coach. But then like different circumstances led to Coach Pico becoming our head coach. So I was with her for 3 years. And like when she stepped up, it was just like, she did so much for us. Like she was just such a good rock. She was always there.
Yeah.
More than a coach, you know, like she's definitely a mentor.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Is there anything specific that like you attribute to learning from her?
Definitely communication. She was a big stressor of communicating, like anything, like in the cheer world, outside of the cheer world. Like if there's something to say, like say it. Lack of communication is never good. So definitely a lot of communication skills I got from her.
Yeah.
That's great. Did you, obviously you were like a senior leader on the team this year. You were somebody that I think most of the younger kids probably looked up to. Was that something that was like important for you always from the start, was to get to that position?
Yeah, I would say like when you come in as a freshman, you always just want to work your way up, and like you want people to look up to you because you look up to those people before you. So it was definitely 4 years in the making of hard work and dedication. But when you show that to your younger peers, it was just kind of natural. Like I'm a hard worker, like my entire team is hard workers, but I definitely think we fed off of each other's energy in a positive way.
I think that's awesome. I think you have to learn like the best ways to lead in those situations, because like you have good leaders obviously on your teams as you're growing up, and like people that can impact you a lot, but you have to learn what works for you. So did you feel like that was something that you were like, that took some time to learn, like the best way to lead for you?
Yeah, there were definitely some like disagreements throughout the 4 years, but I definitely see like what works for each person, and I just try to combine that. Like I take little things that I learned from everyone and try to put that into how I led. Yeah. So it's definitely kind of hard to like have everyone watching you a lot of the time, but you get used to it. And at a certain point, it's not like anyone's ahead of anyone. Like you just want to work together.
Yeah. What do you think was your biggest achievement being a leader this year?
Definitely seeing my whole team come together and really work with our routine and like make it perfect and make it what we wanted it to. It was definitely really rewarding to see all of our hard work pay off. When we would hit our routine at a competition, it's such a good feeling. Like you work so hard for 2.5 minutes, and like it feels really good.
Yeah. Did you guys feel like, I always felt like when I looked at our grade with cheer, like I felt like you guys were always very, very tight knit. Like you guys were all pretty close, and like do you think that played into bringing everybody together?
I think that definitely helped a lot.
Yeah.
Like my other seniors are my best friends.
Yeah.
I love them. We talk almost every day. And so I think just being together all the time, just like it was just a really good example of what can happen when you work together.
Totally. I think it's important to think about that. Have you so would you have been doing anything this spring cheer-wise?
No, in the spring, the only thing we do with cheer really is open gyms for the middle schoolers.
Wow.
For the kids who want to try out next year. So unfortunately, we couldn't do that, but I was definitely lucky enough to salvage my last season.
Yeah.
Are there a lot of rising seniors in cheer for this year?
There's four.
That's good. How many did you guys have?
What was that?
How many did you guys have?
We are losing 6.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, if you think, Dempsey, I was thinking about choir, and like we had in concert choir, we lost like
18
freshman
people.
and sophomore year, we lost like 5, like 7. Last year we lost 17 kids.
Well, we lost a lot of people our freshman year too.
Yeah, we lost a good amount, but
we didn't lose that many
You're
our
right,
sophomore year. Last year we lost a lot. That was hard.
It was definitely very, very, very hard.
Yeah.
I think you learn. I think you learn how to rebuild something.
Yeah.
And even when you're just losing a few people each year, I think you still. It's always hard, and it's always gonna be hard. But that's why it helps to have like a tight knit group like you guys had.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Do you know about anything about next year's cheer team? Are there like, do you know if there's anyone who like, do you think it's like going to be at the same level next year with the people that are coming in?
I think that the rising seniors are so capable of leading an amazing team, just as amazing, not better than we were this year. They're all really close with each other. So I'm really definitely excited to see where they take that next season, because they're capable of doing a lot.
That's good.
Awesome. So, you're attending Tulane next year.
I am.
Wave.
Congrats.
Yeah, congrats. This is
awesome.
awesome.
You here. Do you plan on doing anything cheer-wise there?
I thought about it, and it was definitely like a reoccurring thought in my mind. And I had to definitely weigh the pros and cons heavily. But freshman year, I think I'm going to sit it out and see.
Yeah.
I just want to focus on like my academics and getting accustomed to college life. And then I'll definitely reevaluate for a second year.
I think that's very smart. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, Dempsey.
Oh, I was going to say, no, are you satisfied with the college process? Like, do you think it went well for you, would you say?
Well, before I say anything about the process, I could not be happier. I'm obsessed with Tulane. Like,
that's awesome. It's a great school.
But there were definitely some bumps in the road for me, and I think everyone had their fair share.
Yeah.
But I think we all ended up where we're supposed to be, and I think we're all going to do great.
I agree. I think it's going to be awesome.
It's going to be great.
Yeah. What do you think about the rising seniors for this year? Do you think that they're definitely going to have a different experience than we did?
I really hope that they do. I hope that they get to go back to school in the fall and experience the first semester that we did, because just as upsetting as it was to have second semester taken away, like first semester was awesome.
Yeah, it definitely was.
Yeah, it was. Like,
I feel like even though we lost a lot of second semester and like we didn't get to have that, I feel like our grade, like, so it's almost like unusual how quickly I feel like we came together first semester. And I like looking back at it, like that memory of first semester is always still going to be like so amazing to me. And it's always going to be something that I hold really close to my heart. Do you feel the same way, like about how we came together?
Yeah, I agree. Just seeing everything, like everyone come together, like I have definitely reached out to some people that I really wouldn't have if we weren't in this situation. And like, honestly, it may seem to be the opposite, but my friendships have just like grown stronger. Like,
totally.
Yeah.
I keep in contact with my friends. We talk every single day. So, I mean, you have to find positive of every situation. So I definitely think we have.
Okay, Jake, I think it's time to bring up the train story. I think that's the elephant in the room.
You want to bring
the train story?
It's time
who's
to bring
telling
it up.
the train story?
It's time. It's time.
Who's telling the story?
You are.
I'm
You need
so
to.
happy that you brought that up.
I was thinking about it before. Okay.
I feel like we need to hear it from
No, we
Jake's
do.
perspective.
Yeah.
I need a little. I don't even. Okay, I remember it mostly. You can chime in and correct me if I'm wrong. So, Dempsey, you weren't even there, so you.
No,
can't.
I wasn't. No, I was off
Okay.
like feeling nauseous or whatever.
So
Just
here's the deal.
casual me.
Me and Dempsey were going to a concert in the
Rex
city.
Orange County, baby.
Rex
That
Orange
was
County
such a
concert.
good concert. That's
Yeah, it was
that's probably
awesome.
gonna be our last concert for the year.
Yeah. Probably.
Wow.
It was a great one.
No, it was.
So we went there and we got on the train and we were really excited to go in. And then I got a Snapchat from Vicky Calderov, and she said, "We gotta have Vicky on the podcast."
We do. We will.
We'll have her on. So we had I got a text from or a Snapchat from her, and she was like, "Are you on the train right now?" And I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "Oh, me and Leah are like in the next car over. Come say hi." But she said, I don't even know if you know this, but like at first she was like, "We're at the back of the train." And so I walked all the way through the back of the train until I like hit like the back wall, and I was like, "Okay, Vicky's wrong." So then I walked all the way back the other way. And then I found you guys and I sat with you guys for a few minutes. And then there was a lady, probably, I don't know how old she was. She was like 60 or something.
I don't want to tell anyone, but she was pretty old.
Yeah, she was on the older side. And she was just standing on like the end of the car by like where the doors are. And she was just standing there, and she pulled out a cigarette and just like started to light it like on the train. Which I think is just, even if you like are a smoker, I think you still understand like in today's day and age that you don't smoke on the train.
Yeah.
Just like the safety of other people, and obviously like you should be not doing it for yourself too. But so she starts to like smoke on the train, starts to stink up the car. It's a closed space, and I was just like, I was facing her. Vicky and Leo were facing me.
Yeah.
So I was looking at her, and I like look up at her a few times, and she's like, "What are you looking at?" She's like, "What? Am I doing something?" I'm like, "No, I'm not looking. It's fine." I wasn't feeling like getting into an argument. And
Right.
then,
Yeah.
Right, of course.
and then I like looked back up at her, and she's like, "What's your problem? Like, do you have a problem with me? Like what's the issue? Stop looking at me." And I was like, I'm like, "I don't have a problem. Just like don't come over here and just like do what you need to do, but don't involve me in this or whatever." And then she again just kept talking to me. She's like, "Are you gonna snitch on me? Like, are you gonna snitch? Don't snitch on me." I was like, "I'm not gonna say anything." And then she started to just keep smoking. And then one of the train, like the conductors walked by, and he was like, she was like, "You can't do that. Like, you know that you can't be smoking on the train. Come on, why are you doing that?" And the lady, like, she like played dumbly, I remember. She's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Like, I didn't know." Like, and the lady like saw through, and the conductor, she was like, "Oh, cut it out. Like, enough with this." She's like, "Put out the cigarette now, or you're getting off the next stop." And so the conductor walked away, but I saw the conductor and another conductor were at the end of the car, and they were like watching her. And by this point, the lady who's smoking the cigarette comes up to me, and she starts like inching towards me, Leah, and Vicky. She's like, "I told you not to snitch." She's like, "I told you not to snitch." And I was like, "Oh my God." Like, and she's like, "I told you to get over it." And I remember I said to her, I'm like, "I'm over it. You're the one who keeps talking to me. Like, I've been over it. I didn't say anything to them. I'm sitting here. They came from the other way. I couldn't have said anything." And then she keeps proceeding to like, it was kind of creepy at that point. Like, she was like inching over.
I was
like,
horrified. I was squeezing Vicky's hand for my life. I think I broke her finger. I was shaking. So scared.
She like stuck, like there's like the seats, right? Like, we were in like a section of 4, and she like went into another seat like right behind us, and she stuck her head through the metal bars was like staring at us. I'm like, can you please stop? Like, I've asked you to stop nicely multiple times. Please. Like, you're bothering us. I'm not doing anything to you. Please. And then we ended up going over to the conductors and saying, look, she's being aggressive. She's not being nice. She's being rude, and she's being a bad passenger. And we think you should say something. We're gonna go to the next car. And we left. And the conductors, I remember the conductor said something to her. They're like, you need to get off the next stop now. And then we went over to Dempsey, and he's like, what happened? Dempsey was nauseous in the other car.
Yeah, I was like, I'm not gonna get up. So
I whipped those off the other car. That was not a story I needed to of that lady.
Yeah. She was scary. It was also funny, Leah, because the car that we were in, like, there was literally like a party going on. Do you remember?
Oh yeah. The kids behind us were like cheering us on when we walked back. They were so proud of us.
They were like heroes.
They were like having a 25th birthday party or something on the train. It was awesome.
That's a cute story.
It is a good story. So,
do you want to get into our final question?
Yeah, we should get into our final question. So we always ask the same final question. David Gold gave it to us, and shout out to Goldie.
Yeah. We shout him out too much. We give him too much
attention. Shout him out too much. It's gonna be on the record. This is the last time we will shout him out.
You've gone enough.
So he asked a really good question. The question was, basically, is there anything that you think that people think about you that bothers you? And in regards to that, like, what legacy would you like to have? What would you like people to think about you that they might not already know?
That's a good question. I like that question a lot, actually. I don't think there's any like stereotype for me. I like to think that there isn't. I think I'm a pretty all-around nice person. I get along well with everyone, so I hope no one like has anything like that against me.
Right.
My legacy, that's something. I want to be remembered as someone who's definitely caring and respectful, kind. I try to like go out of my way to be friends with everyone. Like I think I'm pretty friendly. I kind of want to just be like a positive thing to remember. Live positive.
And then like a little something else that we like to ask is kind of just, do you have any advice for your younger self as you entered high school? Any advice that you'd like to give yourself?
Well, this coronavirus definitely would impact my advice, but without it, I would just say, just be yourself. There's never any harm in being who you want to be. Do what makes you happy, even if other people don't see it. Just be you, find your passion, pursue it. Just be kind to you. That's it.
We've talked about this a bunch on this podcast, and I think it's very important, is that like at our high school, I think that I'm sure that people have differing opinions than me, and that's fine. But from where I stand and where I think Alex stands too, I think that there's a culture of respect towards people that are pursuing what they love. And I think that theater kids respect athletes, people on cheer respect, like debate kids, like everybody is respecting everybody most of the time, I think, if you're pursuing something. And I think there's a mutual respect there, which I think means a lot to all of us. And I think it's really interesting, Dempsey, have you noticed that I think probably like 7 out of 8 people we've asked that question to all say like, be yourself, like don't care about what other people think. And I think that's like a testament to what our school is.
Definitely.
We've been able to build this culture where
there's no fear about being yourself.
There's no fear, right? And I think that's great. So
I couldn't agree more.
Thank you for coming on tonight, Leah.
Thank you guys for having me. This was so fun.
Yes, it was a pleasure.
So we end off these podcasts by counting down and then saying "Adios, Senor," which is the name of our podcast. So, Jake, I think it's time for you to do the countdown. Yeah, go for it.
Ready? 3, 2, 1. Adios,
Senor.